Hey beauties, morning to you. All right, beautiful people. I saw this lady on television. I think her name on TVJ, sorry. Well, the television as well. I think her name is Dr. Pauline Russell Brown or something of the sort. I couldn't quite catch what you were saying, but I read the caption where it said Jamaicans are having fewer children. Obviously, Jamaican women are having fewer children in this 21st century. And I am not surprised, to be very honest with you. I am not surprised. And one of the biggest contributing factors to that is economic status of people, the financial status of the Jamaican populace. People are finding it hard to even take care of themselves. They're not surviving just taking care of one human being themselves. And it is really difficult in this modern day when the world is global. It's a global village. You have information. The WHO, had sent out something in fairly recent time to say that in terms of basic survival skills, in terms of food, it really cost the individual about $1,025 per day. Per day. Anything under that is poverty. It is indigence. You're not doing well. The basic level, the foundation is $1,025 per day. I think it was last year or earlier this year, that came out. I read it. You understand? And it is not off. If you go to a regular place, that is not, you would consider pretty expensive. The average meal probably costs between $800 to $700 or $800 to $1,000. So can you imagine you have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 children? It's not like back in the day. Somehow it worked because one, generally you had the mother and father together, even if it was a common law situation, even if they weren't married, and the man would go out and plow the field, till the soil, and then they would bring back the grown provisions and so on. The woman would have been the stay-at-home mom, and they just lived within their means. They could not have gone above it anyway because, they probably never had the jobs and the wherewithal, and things weren't as advanced. So that time it worked out for them. Even though, yes, they were, more poverty-stricken and so on, but somehow it worked out. God allowed it to work out for them. But not in this day and age. We're in a day and age now where women have to be basically on par in terms of everybody going out to work and work their butts off in order to survive because things are super expensive. Inflation is 10-11% thereabout. And Jamaica is getting worse and worse financially, economically. I'm talking about the masses feeling the crunch in their pockets. It's like the holes them can't soap. It's like a butter against the sun. It's not panning out. Even though we see a lot of infrastructural changes, like a lot of homes being built across the island, especially in the Kingston metropolitan area, which has affected the rain. It's not really raining. We have not seen proper rainfall in months. We're not talking a little trickling, or one day you might see something come down a little bit and stop 5 or 10 minutes later. People are suffering. It probably has that financial deficit, that financial decadence now has spilled over into the physical because they're not getting the proper nutrition. Sometimes, unfortunately, be the man or the woman, they somehow, whether their sperm count is too low or the woman, her eggs are not, fertile. So she's not able to have children. Surprisingly, it's affecting people. That is probably not on a major scale, but that is something to be considered. Psychologically, people can't manage. When COVID came to Jamaica, put it that way, in March of 2020, and a lot of the parents had to stay home with their children, and they realized reality. They realized what the teachers probably were facing in schools, and they picnic them, eat them out of house and home like termites. Some of them complained, and I'm not calling children termites. Please don't. I'm talking about just because they're at home, they had nothing to do. Either play, then they get hungry. Play, then they get hungry. Sleep, then they get hungry. They wake up, they get hungry. And the parents say, my God, what is this on me? What is this on me? So if they were fairly young, them tell themselves, not a picnic more I'm having. Not a picnic more. Absolutely not. Crazy. They felt it, my beautiful people. They're feeling it. So that lady that came and said that, I didn't hear what her reasons behind it, but I can tell you that some of what I've posited are some of the fundamental reasons people don't have it financially. Psychologically, they can't manage. COVID opened that. It gave them a snippet. They said, my God, the picnic are going to eat me out of house and home. They're not going to leave anything at all. And it is tough. I can barely make it myself. That is what they're telling themselves. They can barely eat. I've heard of cases where the parent has to make a decision. All right, is either I eat or the child eat. And obviously, since the child is the younger of the two, they're more vulnerable. They can't bear hunger like us as adults. They have to make the choice and give it to the child. Precedence has to go to the child. That's not an easy task, because they themselves are feeling it physically, and it can affect them, and they develop different illnesses and diseases because of improper nutrition or lack of food. Sometimes you see some people go on some crazy ways. It's because they're hungry. Remember Elijah, when he was running from Jezebel and he became suicidal after a while? It was because he was hungry too. Not because he was fearful of Jezebel. He was hungry. He was literally hungry. He was literally hungry. He ran like... The speed that he ran, it was like a motor vehicle speed. Driving ordinarily. That's unusual. That was God just giving him that unusual, supernatural gifting for that moment. And then God sent the ravens to feed him, John Crow, what we call John Crow, to feed him. So God is unorthodox to understand that about God. So we can't box God in a box. He says his ways and his thoughts are higher than ours. Because afterwards he sent him to the Shunammite woman, the widow, who never had dry whatever, And God said, out of our nothingness, give it to the man of God. She thought he was being selfish. Probably she thought that way initially. And she just said, you know what? What do I do have to lose? Because it's just me and my son, I don't want little meal anyway. I don't want little money me have left. So what the difference? Give it to him and done. And God blessed her abundantly. So let me tell you something. Jamaicans can't even afford to have a cockroach as a pet right now. They cannot afford to have an ant as a pet right now. They're not surviving. And I'm talking the majority of Jamaicans. And I'm talking about educated, hardworking, competent, able, viable people. Because their salaries are poor in general, especially in the public sector. Especially in the public sector. For years they have been crying out, because I used to hear it even when I was in private sector. And I came and I faced it myself. While some are doing fantastic, but it's top heavy. It's very top heavy. Remember the movie Johnny Bravo, and you see how his upper body was so heavy, and the two little bony feet or look like matches stick, or like a piece of stick where you pick off a tree. Bony. It's top heavy. So 1 and 2 up there doing very well in the public sector, while the masses not doing well at all. You know? Some getting 100, 200, 300% increase, while some can't even get the 20% increase. Can you imagine that? Oh my God. That algorithm, boy, it never ceases to amaze me. It never ceases to amaze me when I think about it. They can't afford to have any children. People want to. People would love to. The Bible says, be fruitful and multiply. But it wasn't only talking about having children. It was talking about productivity as well. Not just children, but you need them. Until God is ready to come for this earth again, we need to be replenishing the earth with newer people. So we should be fruitful and multiply in terms of the literal children, in terms of our productivity, in terms of increase, and making the land fertile and grow and prosper. God gave us dominion over this earth for us to do well. But why we live in a time in Jamaica where them not have it? Miss, they do not have it. They want to. They would love to. But when they think about prep school or primary school and high school and tertiary level, then whatnot, they realize they cannot. They're not making it. It is tough. It is difficult. Guys, follow me on TikTok. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Certainly. share this message.